Throughout history, there have been texts so disturbing, so controversial, that people believed simply studying them could be dangerous. Some were locked away, some were banned, and others mysteriously disappeared. These are 10 real ancient writings that many believed were never meant to be fully understood. In 1945, a collection of ancient writings was discovered buried in Egypt. Known as the Nag Hammadi Texts, these documents contain Gnostic teachings that directly contradict traditional Christian beliefs. Some texts suggest that the material world is an illusion, while others claim that secret knowledge, not faith, is the key to salvation. Early religious authorities labeled these writings as dangerous because they threatened the structure of organized religion. As a result, many of these texts were suppressed, hidden, or destroyed for centuries. The Popol Vuh is a sacred text of the Maya civilization, describing the creation of the world, the origins of humanity, and interactions between humans and powerful deities. It tells stories of failed human creations, powerful gods, and trials that shaped existence itself. Early Spanish colonizers considered it dangerous and attempted to destroy it, fearing it preserved beliefs that conflicted with Christianity and could influence indigenous populations. What survived was only because it had been secretly rewritten and hidden by those determined to preserve it. The text offers a perspective on reality that is completely different from Western traditions, one where humans are not the first attempt at creation, and where the gods are far more complex and unpredictable, and that alone made it something authorities wanted erased. The Emerald Tablet is a short but incredibly influential text attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, a figure linked to ancient wisdom and esoteric knowledge. Despite being only a few lines long, it contains cryptic statements about the nature of reality, transformation, and what later became known as alchemy. The phrase, "as above, so below," originates from this text, suggesting a deep connection between the universe and human existence. Also a really creepy movie. If you haven't seen that movie, you should really watch it. It's so scary. What made it so controversial is how much meaning scholars believed was hidden within such a small passage. For centuries, alchemists and philosophers tried to decode it, believing it contained secrets about matter, consciousness, and even immortality. Some believed it held the key to understanding the structure of the universe itself, while others warned that misinterpreting it could lead people down dangerous paths of thought or obsession. This ancient Buddhist text, also known as the Bardo Todol, describes what happens between death and rebirth. It provides detailed instructions for navigating the afterlife, including how to recognize illusions, avoid fear-based traps, and ultimately escape the cycle of reincarnation. What makes it especially unusual is that it is traditionally read aloud to the dying or recently deceased, as if guiding them through the process in real time. What made it unsettling to outsiders was how precise and experiential it seemed. Rather than vague spiritual ideas, it reads like a step-by-step guide, describing visions, entities, and stages of consciousness with striking clarity. To some, it felt like philosophy, and more like a direct account of something that had already been experienced. The Book of Enoch is an ancient Hebrew text that was excluded from most versions of the Bible, despite being referenced in some early religious traditions. It describes angels known as the Watchers, descending to Earth, sharing forbidden knowledge with humans, and creating a race of giants known as the Nephilim. It goes further, detailing how this knowledge corrupted humanity and led to chaos on Earth. What made this text especially controversial wasn't just its content, but how detailed and structured it was. It presents a completely different version of early human history, one where divine beings directly interfered with human development. Many believed it challenged established religious authority and raised questions that institutions didn't want answered. For centuries, it was considered too dangerous and too heretical to include in official doctrine, and many copies were lost, destroyed, or deliberately hidden. Although widely known today as a fictional fictional creation, the idea of the Necronomicon is believed to have roots in much older mythological and esoteric traditions. Across different cultures, there are repeated stories of forbidden books containing knowledge about ancient entities, hidden dimensions, and forces beyond human understanding. These texts were often described as dangerous not because they were fictional, but because people believed they contained knowledge that could fundamentally alter a person's perception of reality. Some accounts even warned that simply reading certain passages could lead to psychological breakdown or obsession. Whether any single version truly existed or not, the concept reflects a long-standing human fear that some knowledge isn't just hidden, it's hidden for a reason. Despite its name, the Egyptian Book of the Dead isn't a single book, but a collection of funerary texts designed to guide souls through the afterlife. These texts were often buried with the dead, personalized for the individual, and filled with spells, passwords, and instructions meant to help them survive what came next. It includes detailed descriptions of trials in the afterlife, including the famous weighing of the heart against a feather to determine one's fate. What made it unsettling to later scholars wasn't just its focus on death, but how systemic and precise it was. It didn't read like symbolic mythology. It read like a structured process, almost like a manual. That level of detail made some question whether it was purely belief or based on something people thought they truly understood. Discovered between 1947 and 1956 in caves near the Dead Sea, these scrolls are some of the oldest known biblical texts ever found. But what made them controversial were the differences they revealed compared to later accepted scripture. Some scrolls contained alternate versions of familiar texts, while others introduced entirely new writings that suggested different beliefs, rules, and interpretations of faith. They also hinted at sects with very different views on morality, prophecy, and the end of the world. For years, access to these documents was tightly controlled, and only a small group of scholars were allowed to study them. This secrecy led to speculation that certain fragments may have been withheld or delayed due to their potentially disruptive implications. Even today, debate continues about what they reveal and whether everything has truly been made public. The Codex Gigas is one of the largest medieval manuscripts ever created, weighing over 160 pounds and requiring multiple people to move it, but it's not just its size that made people fear it. The book contains a massive, full-page illustration of what appears to be the devil, unlike anything seen in other manuscripts of its time. Alongside this image are religious texts, medical knowledge, historical records, and even exorcism rituals, all compiled into a single volume. According to legend, it was written in a single night by a monk who made a deal with a dark entity to avoid punishment. While historians dismiss that as myth, the sheer scale of the work and the strange mix of content made it feel unnatural to many who studied it. Its ominous imagery and mysterious origins led some to believe it carried something more than just knowledge, but something intentionally unsettling. It's haunted. That's what I'm trying to say, is that it's haunted. Clearly. Discovered in 1912, the Voynich Manuscript is one of the most mysterious books ever found. Written in an unknown language that no one has been able to decode, it contains strange illustrations of unidentifiable plants, bizarre astronomical diagrams, and human figures interacting with unknown systems. Experts have spent decades trying to understand it, but every attempt has failed. What makes it unsettling isn't just that it's unreadable, but that it appears highly structured, as if it was meant to be understood by someone. Some researchers have even suggested that if it were fully decoded, it would reveal knowledge that was intentionally hidden. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Bye!